From the 1011 Now Alert Center, this is Morning Pulse.
Hello and good morning. This is Craig Allison with your Morning Pulse for Wednesday, May 6th. Our question of the day before we get into our top 6 stories for you this morning is over 30% of people who have never done this say they're curious about doing it, but probably won't. What is it? Answer is travel solo. We were actually pretty split on the morning crew. We said getting a tattoo or skydiving, but answer for you this morning is traveling solo. If you want to participate in our questions of the day, be sure to head over to our 1011 Facebook page, put in your guess. We read off both the guesses and the answer on 1011 this morning. But that being said, let's get into your top 6 headlines for you this morning. Starting things off on the international side, the United States is putting Project Freedom on pause. Yesterday, President Trump announced the U.S. operation of leading ships through the Strait of Hormuz is on hold, but the blockade will remain in place. According to the president, progress has been made regarding a final agreement with Iranian representatives. Project Freedom went into effect Monday, and the Trump administration stressed the ceasefire wasn't over. Now, this being said, I wrote this story this morning, but just within the past 30 minutes to an hour, we just pushed out another update with the war in Iran. It appears that U.S. President Donald Trump threatened Iran with more bombing this morning if it doesn't reopen the Strait of Hormuz after a report that an agreement is emerging to end the war. Trump posted this on social media, and that it all depends on Iran accepting a reported agreement that the U.S. president did not detail to us. So we'll continue to keep you updated as we learn the details of that. Trump saying, quote, if they don't agree, the bombing starts. So again, this is threats that are coming after China's foreign minister called for a comprehensive ceasefire in the Iran war following a meeting with Iranian foreign minister who was visiting Beijing for the first time since the war with the U.S. and Israel started back in late February. So again, these are new developments on top of the story I just wrote this morning, looking into this. So a lot of moving pieces and parts. Again, we'll continue to keep you updated here at 1011now.com as those updates come in. But now switching things over to local news for you this morning. Going into politics, for the campaign trail, former Nebraska State Senator and gubernatorial hopeful Lynn Walls has outraised incumbent Governor Jim Pillen in the last reporting period during the month of April, according to campaign filings. Walls raked in more than $171,000 between April 8th and 27th, more than double Pillen, who brought in $76,000 during that time. However, Pillen's campaign war chest still much, much deeper, with $9.5 million versus Walls, who has a total of $640,000. So that being said, Nebraska's primary, where both of these candidates are appearing on ballots, is May 12th. Now, getting into the more needs for the voters that you need to pay attention to, Lancaster County Election Commissioner Todd Wilchin is sending out another reminder if you're planning to vote early for the state primary. Return your ballot as soon as possible. Early voting ballots must be turned in by 8 p.m. next Tuesday. As of Monday, the commission had received about 23,000 of the over 35,000 early ballots that were issued. Wilchin says yesterday was the last day he recommends mailing in ballots. So if you're listening, from here on out, you should place your ballot at a Lancaster County drop box location. So just be aware of that, and we have more on this story on our website, 1011now.com. Over to your third story for you this morning. Another round of statewide town halls is being held this week on medical cannabis. Goal is to explain the current state of medical cannabis in Nebraska. Last night's meeting was held in Blair, and Krista Eggers with Nebraskans for Medical Marijuana noted the previous legislation aimed to set up the framework for licensing, a number of dispensaries, and having protections and penalties for patients. It ultimately failed to pass in the unicameral, and she noted that now, 18 months after the passage of the ballot, there are no doctors prescribing, no patients in the state, and no program up and running.
Obviously, there's a reason all of this is happening. I believe that advocates have done their job. I believe that the voters did their job. They signed petitions, they got out and voted. And now, unfortunately, it's in other people's hands.
You might remember, as we mentioned, with that 18-month time point in November of 2024, Nebraskans voted overwhelmingly, I believe in the 70% range, in favor of legalizing medical marijuana. There will be another town hall tonight in Fall City. Over to your fourth story and happening today. Lincoln Parks and Recreation is conducting a prescribed burn in Wilderness Park this afternoon. Burn will take place on about 8 acres just south of the Bison Trail in the north end of the park from noon to 3 p.m. And there are no closures associated with this project, but the community members are being advised to avoid the area during the work. The goal of these burns is both reduce wildfire risk and enhance wildlife habitat over there. Your fifth story, with fuel prices skyrocketing and no sign of relief in the near future, experts are focusing on alternative fuel products. Just hit the mic there. Sorry about that. UNL is adding to those efforts with tractors powered by something a bit out of the ordinary. At the N Farms building near Ithaca, UNL Ag and New Holland leaders unveiling 2 fully methane-powered tractors. Tractors will be used on UNL farmland near the area, and the goal is to research how well the alternative fuel compares to traditional diesel.
We look at the future of the feedlot systems. The opportunity to generate our own fuel source with methane is real, and that's just one of the type of systems that these tractors can operate in and help our producers with their energy costs.
Same process is used at Lincoln's wastewater treatment plant and will be used at the landfill to generate renewable biogas. Currently, there are only 3 of these tractors in Nebraska, and one of them is at the Lincoln Airport, which is used to cut grass. Now, wrapping things up with your sixth and final story for you this morning. How many tries does it take to make an ice cream sandwich, or make ice cream, taste like a sandwich? It's very confusing to follow, but it's a question that April Johnson, a product development project manager at UNL's Food Processing Center, now has the answer to. She said it took 3 or 4 tries before turning Runza's signature entree into a dessert. But Johnson says it didn't take much mixing before the perfect combination was found. Now, despite what you may or may not have tasted, there are no actual pieces of beef or greens, but based on it, you'll be quick to guess otherwise. In total, Lab made around 1,400 individual cups of the flavor, all of which are now sold out. Reactions from around the internet and even here at 1011 have been split on whether accurate equals good.
I knew that the ice cream would sell out because, it's kind of that shock factor that gets people to come in and try it and say, hey, I actually tasted this ice cream.
Johnson says the uniqueness that might not have most going back for seconds is what makes it so special. I understand it's special, but I have tried the Runza ice cream and gotta say it is not for me. That was quite an experience. Us here at 1011 all took turns giving a little taste test to the certainly unique ice cream flavor there. It was something I needed a French fry afterwards to get the taste out of my mouth. I was certainly not a fan. So I love Runza sandwiches. They still have my money on that, but yeah, the ice cream not so much for me. That being said, that's going to do it for your morning pulse for this Wednesday morning. We'll wrap things up with a look at your 7-day forecast before tossing things over to Brandon Rector with more.
Good Wednesday morning. Meteorologist Brandon Rector with you in the 1011 Severe Weather Center. Today is going to be partly to mostly cloudy, and we'll have winds out of the north-northwest at around 5 to 15 miles per hour. Going to be another cool day with temperatures well below average for this time of the year. Clouds will really start to decrease late afternoon into the evening, setting ourselves up for a mostly clear to partly cloudy night. Our temperatures at noon today in the mid-40s to mid-50s. By 4, temperatures will be in the low 50s to low 60s. And at 8 this evening, temperatures should be dropping into the upper 40s to upper 50s. In Lincoln for today, we're going to warm up into the low 60s this afternoon, about 10 degrees below average for this time of the year.
From the 1011 Now Alert Center, this is Morning Pulse.